Hi Aquarius, this is Raina, and this is a tarot spread for the year ahead. It's called the Year Ahead Tarot Spread from tarot.com for the year 2020. And so there were a couple signs I didn't get to before the new year, so I almost was tempted not to do it, but I thought, well, you know, just to be fair to the other signs, you and Pisces, I was going to do it. So I'm just going to lay out the cards and then I'll tell you what they mean, because this is not my, spread, so I have to refer to it, the information on my computer, which is off camera. Okay, so the first card represents sunset. It's called Sunset, and it's lessons from your previous year. So you have the Tower card. Now that's the card of, things that can just happen very dramatically, suddenly and dramatically. So I wonder how many of you have experienced that. It's funny because I always associate the Tower card with eclipses, and you did have the eclipse in your sign and your opposite sign, Leo, but not this past year. So I don't know if it was something connected to perhaps, well, let's see. Oh, you know what it could be too, though, because with the eclipses being in the 12th house and the 6th house, there may have been kind of a lot of, maybe even like psychically, just kind of, maybe the Tower card is like a spiritual awakening of sorts, where it's just kind of like everything comes together and you have this revelation of sorts. Maybe it wasn't anything necessarily bad, but this is a lesson that you learn. What I would say in general, especially since you're a cardinal or a fixed sign, is that perhaps you had to learn to go with the flow. If you were trying to hold on to something that was changing, and you tolerated something, and then it just like got to a powder keg stage, and you had no choice but to accept the explosion, however it manifested. I don't know. I wish I had friends that were Aquarians that could tell me whether or not that was true for them, but I can't verify that on my own. So the second card is the Horizon. It's called Horizon, what you can expect in the next year. This is the Page of Cups. And this is a card of, this is associated with Pisces, hence the fish. It can be a new relationship that is, it's in its early stages. For some people, this can be even a child that comes into the picture. This is a card that kind of shows a trusting nature. So with the Tower card, if there was any kind of a situation where, for instance, you found out that a partner was cheating, excuse me, and you were kind of like taken by surprise, the 1-2 punch of these cards is the Tower card would be, suggesting that perhaps you were not paying attention to certain things that were right under your nose, and that's why you were surprised in that way, perhaps. And the Page of Cups, though, suggests a sense of willingness to trust, willingness to open your heart. So if there's, as a matter of fact, when I did draw that page card or knew what it meant, I I figured that perhaps the Tower card was related to relationship issues for some of you. You may also be starting a new creative project with the Page of Cups. The third card, obstacle, a challenge you'll face this year. I did pick it in the reversed position, so the King of Wands in reverse could be I was going to say a boss from hell, but some kind of a bully that you have to deal with. And this may be either a boss, somebody like in a position of authority that has some say over your life in some way. Hopefully it's not some family member, because this can actually be like a father. But this person, because it's in the reverse position, is not really acting correctly. So they are somebody who is trying to bully you and trying to kind of like trample on your autonomy because they don't feel powerful in their own right. This could be a partner. Now, again, the Tower card, if there was somebody who you left because of some infidelity or some other issue, where they kept something from you, and you left that situation, they may try to get you back, and they may, be very much like strong-arming you or trying to get you to change your mind. And you have to remember what is happening, or what has happened. Not to let somebody who feels like they have the right to do whatever they want and never be questioned, to continue on that way. And you have a right to be with somebody who is only with you, unless you don't mind an open relationship. But the key word in open relationship is open. That means not just an open relationship means that you're above board about it. And somebody like this, they want to do whatever they want to do and not be questioned about it. And that's not fair. And that's not very honest either. The fourth card is strength, how to harness your inner power. Aha! Very good. Perfect for this. The Hermit card. So this is about looking within. There's that saying, the way out is in. Excuse me. And it's true. Whenever you are faced with an outer dilemma, look within. Because you'll see exactly what it is that is missing. I always say too, like, the Hermit card, I'm sure some people consider the Hermit card like meditation, but to me it's self-inquiry, because it's like doing soul searching. And usually that's when a person has a decision to make and they're not sure which direction to go in. And I have a lot of compassion for people who find themselves, like the Tower card, where everything, their foundation may have completely cracked. And they don't know exactly what to do about it, because they may have had either, if you want to call it, a fantasy about what was happening, or a just kind of like a little bit of ignorance. The other thing I was thinking about too is that the Tower card could be losing your job. Maybe that's something that happened in 2019, and perhaps your boss calls you, your narcissistic boss calls you and says, hey, you can come back to work for us after all. Now, whether it's that or an ex calling you, sometimes the first impulse is to be flattered, to be happy. Oh, wow, they couldn't live without me after all. When in fact, it could be part of a manipulation. And the other thing too is, how can you trust that person or that situation again. So it's something to think about. But the Hermit card is also to me about that sense of aloneness, but I should say, I didn't say loneliness, aloneness. Aquarius is a social sign, so you tend to enjoy being with others. You rule the 11th house of friendships and groups, so that's something that just is wired into you to be like that. But what happens when people are too social is that other people's attitudes can rub off on the individual. And I know that Aquarius is very individualistic. It loves to be their own person and not be a carbon copy of somebody else. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to withstand just the influence of other people, because it's just natural when you're surrounded by other people that, their ideas rub off on you. So it's easier to think for yourself when you are literally by yourself. The 5th card represents advice, lessons you've learned last year. So the first card was about lessons from your previous year. This one is too, but it's in the context of advice. Okay, well, here's another card that's going towards perhaps love and creativity, the Empress card. I would say for Aquarius women, embrace the divine feminine. You are a masculine sign. Maybe you are somebody who thinks that, I know this sounds really shallow, but bear with me. Maybe you think that wearing a dress is being a sellout as a woman, as an Aquarian woman in 2020, or doing anything feminine, even like appearance-wise. Being able to explore that and not look at your gender as being a liability is important. See, I'm a Sagittarian woman, and I'm also a masculine sign because I'm fire sign, and that can really be, I think, even like not even on the conscious level, just like the way that we operate, that we have more of those masculine tendencies, and that can migrate over into how we dress and just kind of like tomboys. I know growing up I was like that, young, and it's not about being submissive or sell out or anything like that. It's the thing about balance, in some cases too, because remember I got the Page of Cups, and that could be about a child coming into the picture. There may be something here about maybe you don't want to give birth to a child. Maybe that's always been something that you didn't want to do. Maybe you have always felt that it was wrong, because of environmental factors or something like that. But the Page of Cups doesn't necessarily say that you're going to give birth. Maybe you want to adopt, or maybe you're with somebody who has a child and you could be a step-parent. It's really like about looking at the issue from a multifaceted perspective. The Empress card is also about creativity. So with the Page of Cups, you may be inspired to pick up the paintbrush or the pen, whatever it is that's your medium, artistic medium, and do something creative and not feel like it's a waste of time, that there's a purpose to it, and to believe in yourself artistically. Okay, in the 6th card, navigation, guidance for the year ahead. Oh, yeah, and that was another thing I should have mentioned. Well, that's okay. we have the Three of Wands. So when I saw the number 3, it kind of triggered the Empress card, because that's 3 in the major arcana. The number 3, which 2019 was a universal year, is a card of abundance. So it's associated with expansion with the Three of Wands. So this is about taking the things that you have done in the past and reach further. So, for instance, maybe you did have a disappointing relationship, and it might have even ended on a dramatic note. The Three of Wands is about, looking for more out of life. Perhaps there is something that maybe you need to go beyond the type of person that you normally are attracted to, and you have to be willing to explore different types of people. Again, you're a fixed sign. You may have in your mind a very certain type of person that you think that you are attracted to, and that might lead to just kind of the same patterns, just repeating themselves over and over again. And the willingness to challenge those patterns, I think, is an important breakthrough in being able to really move ahead in your life. This can also be like work matters. If somebody did lose their job, and the Tower represents that, it's like framing it in the perspective of, thank you, universe, for releasing me from a limiting situation. I would have never had the guts to do this on my own, and now I'm forced to do it. And I'm so grateful for that. So it's all about seeing that there is more to the world than your little narrow, and I mean that for all of us. I mean, we all have our own little tunnel vision because of things that we have dealt with in life. And then the 7th card is the card of clarity, your personal theme for the year. The Knight of Swords, this is a card of, again, this can be the writer or the lawyer or something like that. But as a theme, I think it's about speaking up, speaking your truth, and not apologizing for it. Not that, a lot of Aquarians are known for being, kind of shrinking violets, but you do have a tendency to be detached, and maybe you don't want to create a scene. So those kinds of things can lead you to not be forthcoming. That's why I say with the Tower is like, being able to express your displeasure in the moment and not let it build up. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal look at 2020, a natal chart interpretation, anything like that, my website is rainandmoonastrology.com, and the link is below. Take care. Bye.